friends, it's Miss Chetty, and today we're going to be talking about different features in a non-fiction text. Remember, a non-fiction text is a book that is about real things that can teach you information about a new topic. So today we're going to read this story, An Animal Community by Bobby Cowman. And as we're reading it, I'm going to go over the text features that help us learn more about the story. Okay, so an animal community. Okay, so on this first page we have what we call the table of contents. And the table of contents tells us how the book is organized and what we're going to read about. So it says, what is in this book? What is a community? A prairie dog town. Sharing food. Prairie dog families. Community daycare. Working together. Town guards. Prairie dog teachers. Communication. The rodent family, and words to know and index. So before I even read this book, I can tell that this book is probably going to be about prairie dogs. It's going to be about how they live in a community, and they share food and what their families look like and how they work together and live together. So I think this is going to be an informational book about prairie dogs. What is a community? This right here is what we call a heading. A heading is something that tells us what the whole section or page is mostly about. So this whole page is going to be about what a community is. So a community is a place. It is also the group of living things that shares that place. Living things are plants, animals, and people. Prairie dogs are animals that live in communities. They live in communities to stay alive. So as I look at this text right here, I notice right here this word community and these two words, living things, are in bold print. That means that they are important words that we need to pay attention to when we're reading. So we know that a community is a place. We know that living things are plants, animals, and people. And that's important information to know as we read our story. Over here it says, prairie dogs are not dogs. They are a kind of squirrel. See pages 22 to 23. So we have a picture of a group of prairie dogs and a picture of a squirrel. So prairie dogs are a kind of squirrel. A prairie dog town. So this is the heading that tells us that these two pages are going to be about the prairie dog town. Prairie dogs live in big communities. Their communities are called towns. Some towns are huge. They are deep in the ground. Towns have rooms and tunnels. So we can see in this picture that there are tunnels and then there are little rooms for the prairie dogs to live in. Sharing food. Communities share food. Prairie dog communities share food too. Prairie dog towns are on prairies. Prairies are flat areas with grasses, flowers, and other plants growing on them. Prairie dogs eat these plants. Prairie dogs eat the flowers and other plants that grow on prairies. So again, we have a heading here. And we have a bold word right here. And that bold word is prairies, and prairies are flat areas with grasses, flowers, and other plants growing in them. Prairie dog families. Communities have families. Prairie dog communities also have families. Prairie dog pups or babies are born in the spring. Prairie dog mothers feed their pups milk from their bodies. When the pups are 5 weeks old, they come above ground to look for food. Now, here we have a different text feature. This is a new one. This is called a caption. A caption is a small little piece of information that tells you what's happening in a picture. So here's our picture. And in this picture, there's a mommy prairie dog and her baby prairie dogs. And we call baby prairie dogs pups. It says, the pups stay in their town in a room called a nursery. So there's another bold word, nursery. That's where the pups live, in their town. Community daycare. Do you go to daycare? Prairie dog towns also have daycare. The mothers take turns looking after all the pups in one family. They watch over the pups and make sure they are safe. They also teach the pups which plants are good to eat. Working together. The prairie dog community cooperates or works together to dig their towns. Digging a town is a big job. Each prairie dog helps with the digging. So here we have another caption that goes with this picture. It says, these prairie dogs are talking while they work. And you can see right here, it looks like they're talking to each other. And there's another caption for this picture. It says, is this prairie dog stuck? Will he get out? Town guards. Communities have police officers to protect people. Prairie dogs also protect their towns from predators. Predators are animals that hunt and eat other animals. Foxes, coyotes, and hawks eat prairie dogs. Prairie dog guards watch for predators such as this hawk. They work together to keep their town safe. So we have a new text feature on this page. This is a label. Right here is the one word that describes this picture. This is a coyote, and that's what this word is, coyote. This is a picture of a fox. And this is a picture of a hawk, a bird. And all of these, the coyote, the fox, and the hawk, are predators of prairie dogs. They will hunt the prairie dogs to eat them. So they work together to keep themselves safe. Prairie dog teachers. Communities have schools where children learn from teachers. Prairie dog towns also have teachers. Adult prairie dogs teach the pups how to stay alive. They teach them how to find food, how to dig tunnels, and how to guard the town from predators. Okay, so you can see right here we have an adult and a baby. And it says this adult is teaching a pup how to stand guard. So this is a caption that goes with this picture. It's telling you information about this picture. Communication. Communities share information. Sharing information is called communication. Prairie dogs communicate in different ways. They make loud calls to warn other prairie dogs of danger. They use different sounds to warn about different predators. People communicate love with hugs and kisses. Prairie dogs huddle and touch their front teeth together to greet one another. So that is pretty cool. So prairie dogs are kind of like penguins in that they huddle, right? The rodent family. People called prairie dogs dogs because they make barking sounds. But prairie dogs are not dogs. They belong to the rodent family. Rodents have 4 front teeth that never stop growing. The animals shown here are rodents that are like prairie dogs. So you can see in this picture right here, it says rodent teeth. So this is a label. This goes with this picture of the teeth. And you can see there are the 4 teeth up front. This is a ground squirrel. This is another label. This is a label for the tree squirrel. This is a label for the chipmunk. And this is a label for the marmot. So there's lots of labels on this page. Okay. Words to know and index. So it says communication, pages 20 to 21. So if I wanted to find out about communication and how prairie dogs communicate, I could go to pages 20 and 21 and I would learn all about how they communicate. Cooperation, pages 14 and 15. Same thing. I could learn about how prairie dogs cooperate with one another by looking back here and finding the page numbers. Here on the index we have families, and it says it's on pages 10 through 11 and page 12. So there are 3 pages of information on families. Here it says food pages. That's on pages 8, 9, 11, and 18. So back here, I have words to know, and that reminds us of the words that we learned in our book, and the index, which is where you can find all this cool information about your animals. So let's say I wanted to look up pups. It says pages 10, 11, 12, 18, and 19. So I'm going to go back to page 10 and see where it says something about pups. Oh, it says communities have families. Prairie dog communities also have families. Prairie dog pups or babies are born in the spring. So this page is about pups. And I know that it was on page 10 because the index at the back told me I could find that information on page 10. So that was a lot of information, and I know that the screen is really dark right now. So let's try this one. There we go. So we're going to talk really, really quickly about the things that we learned, and then we'll be done for the day. So in the front of our book, a nonfiction book, sometimes we'll have a table of contents that tells you how the book is organized. This is everything in the book. And each of these chapters or sections is divided into headings, which are usually up at the top of your section of where you're reading. There's also bold words that are important words. There are labels that tell you what each picture is. There are captions that tell you more details about the pictures. And then we have in the very, very back our words to know and our index. Remember, the words to know are the important words in the story, and the index tells you where you can find all of that important information. So I hope you guys really liked learning about prairie dogs with me. I learned a lot about prairie dogs, and I know that I can use all of my text features to help me learn more about them, like my table of contents, or my labels, or my captions. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!